Hey, this is Nick with Schizophrenia Sucks. And yeah, schizophrenia sucks. If you didn't know that, don't get it. If you don't have it, don't try it. It's not fun. And you won't get your money back. I didn't get my money back. Anyway, so this is going to be about uh, creating value while schizophrenic. So this is kind of like something that I've been struggling with. So, like, you have a disease, right? You have a disability, and it's hard to accept. Like, other people kind of don't accept it. Um, like, even my mom, she doesn't understand that, oh, maybe I can't work. So, and even myself, I really want to work, and not just like to make money or to create widgets, but like creating value, if you want to say, because that's more than work. So, what are we doing with our lives, right? Like, um, are we actually going to create value with our lives? Like, what can we do? And are you expected to? So it's kind of like a big, I don't know, it's kind of philosophical, I guess. But it definitely, I feel driven to work and to do stuff. And I try to do productive stuff like this. Even doing the YouTube, that's to be productive to work, right? I'm trying that out. Maybe it'll get off the ground, maybe it won't. And that's fine if it doesn't. Um, but how do we create value? Because we don't want to be a drag on society, but we may be like people that take more than they put in, and that just like that happens, right? Like, um kids take more, but then they deliver more later. Like, when a woman, when she's pregnant, she's like kind of like a burden, but then it's like she's giving kids. So it's like, what can we do to be the least burden and the most productive that we can be, right? Because it's like kind of funny here. It's like, so yes, you are disabled, but does that mean you can do nothing? Well, for some people, it does mean that, right? Like, some people are going to just be like a net loss to society, right? And but they should still, if they have capacity, try to be doing something, right? Like, I mean, if they can. I'm not saying that everybody can. There's people that are really far gone that literally can't do anything, and they're just like a drain on society. And that's just the way it is. And it doesn't mean like, oh, we should like hurt those people or shame those people or get rid of them or anything like that. It's just there are cases where people are like that. But then there's like, well, what if you're disabled but you have some capacity, right? Like, I try to volunteer my time at my church as much as I can. I'm trying to do good things. I'm trying to inspire my friends to like go to the gym and lift and improve themselves. So it's like, how can, like, not everything is a monetary dollar point, right? It's just like, how are you creating value in society? And creating value is I think it's a better discussion point than like work. Because like, if a woman like has kids and she raises her children and she's a wife, it's like, well, she's not working, but it's like she's creating value, right? Like, that's like, everybody was a child once and needed a mother, right? And eventually, uh, they'll hopefully be able to be productive in society, right? So, um, we just want to create as much value as we can. I think it's like, okay, maybe God gave you schizophrenia, and there's a reason for that. Maybe, like, I was thinking for myself, so that I focus more on God instead of everything else, because I kind of, I'm always so type A that only schizophrenia could slow me down, and it's not even doing a good job at that. So, anyway, we want to create value, is the point. And if you're limited, it's hard because it's like, you want, well, I'd like to be able to work full time or more. Like, I'd really like to be able to maybe do like computer programming at least 40 hours a week, right? Like, work on machine learning. I'd really like to, like, that was one of the things that I wanted to do. It seems meaningful. Or like, maybe start a business and then work like even more, like 60 or 80 hours a week. Like, I really wish I could do that, but it seems like I can't, right? It seems like my capacity is a lot less. And I don't know how to feel about that. Like, I try to help my family out. Um, I try to inspire and help my friends out. I try to organize social events. I try to help my church out. And, like, not help God. I guess you can't really help God, but you know what I mean? Like, do things that God would want you to do as part of creating value. And I guess it's so much better than just work because, like, dollars are one thing, right? Like, working is one thing, but there's other ways to create value. And it may be that that's what capacity we have as schizophrenics or disabled people or maybe depressed or whatever. So, I don't think we should feel guilty or like ashamed. As long as you're doing your best, right? Like, your best may be 1% of what somebody else does, but it's still, that's your capacity, right? So you're at 100% of your capacity, right? And if you're like, and also being like a perfectionist and pushing past your capacity can lead to burnout or like you get demoralized or whatever. So you should just do what you're capable of, but you shouldn't do less. I don't think. I think you should really try to push yourself. Like, I'm pushing myself with the gym right now. And how is that creating value? Well, if you're schizophrenic and you get on these medications, you can get obesity. Like, I'm technically obese right now, but I'm losing the weight. Like, my pants are falling off. I've been going to the gym for 2 months. I've been very consistent. And thank God that I have money and food for the gym. And my friend, of course, who gives me money. But, right, and that's like, well, how's that creating value? Well, I'm inspiring my friends to go to the gym. I'm inspiring the people around me to be in shape and to like be a good example. And I'm also lowering my medical burden on the system, right? Because if you're obese, you're gonna have all these health problems, right? And I'm doing keto, and I'm doing the gym, and I'm trying to eat healthy. I'm trying supplements. I'm doing research, right? I'm doing the most I can to maximize my health so that I'm the least burden possible on society, right? So it's like minimize the burden that you cause and maximize the value that you can create. And I'm still experimenting with drugs as far as like antipsychotics. And I'm doing some experiments and I'm doing some therapies. So I'm in the process of finding out what my work capacity might be. So I haven't given up on work yet. I mean, I might be able to work. Only 10 to 20% of schizophrenics work, apparently. So I'm still trying to figure out what my capacity might be, and I'm trying to get in good shape because that'll increase my work capacity. Like, fixing your testosterone will increase your energy and ambition and get rid of negative emotions. So going to the gym is like really great for that. And I'm trying to inspire people around me to be healthy and to do productive things. And also, that's not like the main focus. The main focus should be like, not, I hate to say spiritual, but like Christian stuff is like, well, what are we doing for God? So I'm actually trying to go out and talk to people about the gospel, which I'm kind of afraid of doing. Like, it's like really difficult for me because it's so important. But I think I'm going to be doing that. My friend said he would invite me out to do it pretty shortly, like in a week or two. So that's also something that would be creating value, is like saving souls, because I believe in all that. And that's like your purpose. So your purpose also creates happiness, and there's a lot of good morals that make society better for everybody, I think. So doing that is also creating value. Like, you don't get paid to go out on the street and like talk to people about God, I guess. But I mean, maybe some people do. But it's like I'm doing as much stuff as I can to build myself up, and I'm organizing social events. I'm trying to get people to be more social, because I'm a super introvert, and I recognize other people are like that. But I have the capacity to extrovert, just it's limited, right? So I'm not shy. I'm just introverted. Anyway, I want to create value. I don't have to. I don't feel like I need to make money or work for the sense of to prove myself. Like I don't feel ashamed that I don't work, but I don't like it. I hate it. I hate that schizophrenia has taken me. Like I would have been making good money, and like I would have not been poor. Like I could have been from one of the most productive members of society, and now I'm like one of the least productive, and I hate that. So it really feels like schizophrenia robs you of, like, it's a thief of joy, which I want to make a video of time, of energy. Um, it's horrible. Like I feel like I could do more, but is that really what you're here for, right? Like, is God gonna like scold you when you get to heaven or you're before him, and he's like, well, why didn't you work more? Like, why didn't you make more widgets? Why didn't you make me more money? Right? Like, what were you doing? Well, if you're sick, you obviously can't. But it's still, there's such a disconnect because my personality and my upbringing were so much like, oh, work, 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 right? And I just really want to work, and it's also gonna affect what women think. Like, if you like, I want to get married, so uh, what am I gonna tell a woman? Like, oh well, I can't work, and then she's gonna be like, well, sorry, I'm not interested. So it definitely hurts that option there, and I don't know. There's a lot to say about like creating value and what you could do, right? Like if I could find a girl who has money, then I could potentially be like the stay-at-home dad and raise kids, and that would be like because I'm sick. It's not like an emasculating thing, right? Like I would still be the man of the house and all that, but um, like I would be creating value by taking care of the kids and maybe working from home. Like I was thinking of a part-time job, like part-time programming maybe, like because you can work from home. So there's lots of ways to create value, and I don't feel that it's like a. It's still such a struggle for me. It's so annoying that here I am, 36, and I haven't worked since about 2009 because my major depressive disorder was so debilitating that I was unable to work essentially. And yeah, it's horrible. And then I got schizophrenia when I was like 30. Um, I don't know if I had a super long prodrome or what. I got to do more research into that, but I'm taking minimal value, but even like borrowing money from my friend, it's like, I feel like I hate that I have to do that. Um, I hate that I'm not producing. I hate that there's like poor people that are like starving. And like, I know I'm poor too. Like, I'm on like really poor, like kind of. But I have enough money for food, right? Like good, healthy food, right? I have good, healthy food. I have a roof over my head. And there's people that don't. And I wish I could do more for those people, but I can't do anything. So it's really annoying. I really hate this. It sucks not having a wife too. So these are all problems. And I feel it's part of my identity that I'm like a workaholic. Like I really love, like I used to spend, I used to go to school, go to work, go to gym, go to like church or Bible study. And I just spend all my time doing stuff and being productive. And now, like the major depressive disorder and the schizoaffective disorder has made it so, well, I can barely keep up with like, well, I can take care of myself now. I almost got put in conservatorship, but I can take care of all my stuff now because I found keto and a few other things, so I can actually take care of myself. And yeah, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so creating value can be many things, and it doesn't have to be a dollar. It doesn't have to be working. Um, right? Like we don't expect everybody to work, and like if you had a kid and they were disabled, you wouldn't like stop loving them because they weren't working, right? It's like, well, like some people have high capacity, some people have low capacity. That's just right. It's kind of like that's what your fate is, I guess. And on Wednesday, I was so tired I stayed in bed till like 6 p.m. So I missed the gym, and I was just exhausted. And that's just what happens some days. You can never really predict what days you'll have good days or bad days. And I don't feel like guilty, but I really hate missing the gym, right? Like, especially because I wanted to like inspire people to go to the gym. So yeah, it's hard. People don't understand schizophrenia or depression either. Like, you just can't do stuff, and people don't get it. It's very annoying. It's even hard for me to accept. Like, I don't really accept it yet. Like, I'm not sure where my limits are, so I'm just gonna assume that there is some limitation, but I don't know what it is. So I think that's the best way to go about it, and then just try to create as much value as you can in whatever way you can, and keep trying to find ways and tweaks to like increase the amount of value you can add to society, or like do what God wants, like, right? Because it's like two separate things. So we're not really here, right, to work. Um, that's just one thing that you can do, right? But like overall, eternity matters more. So this is obviously the Christian view. So I should be worried about like sinning less, praying more, attending church functions, Christian fellowship, stuff like that, right? Like that's like the big thing. And your work capacity is not like you need to have a certain income to enter heaven, right? It's not like you need to make $100,000 a year or work 40 hours a week to go to heaven, right? That's obviously just what people do, right? Here, it doesn't actually matter that much. It's sort of like, yeah, like how much money did Jesus make, right? Like, I'm sure he got paid something, but that's not the focus, right? Or how much did Jesus have a wife and kids? Well, no. So I guess, like, right, like what are we really trying to accomplish here, right? So I really feel that those are the things that matters, and I'm working on that stuff a lot. So I'm trying to create, I don't know, it's like there's creating value, and then what do you want to do with your life, and like your overall purpose. So I want to talk about purpose some other time too. But there's just a lot of things, right? And that's like such a general statement. Um, yeah, so I should look at my eternal like works and less about work, and we'll also have AI and automation soon. So everybody will be out of work soon, right? Like in the next 20 years. I forget what it is. I used to know the stats about how many jobs will be automated. I think that once they automate driving, that's 25% of jobs. So that's in the next 10 years, 25% of jobs will be automated. Is that something like that? And there's not going to be new jobs because the AI will just take those jobs instantly, right? So it's not like before in the past when you automated a job, you would create new jobs, but now all the jobs, the AI is better than a person. So the AI will automatically take the new jobs and be better at the new jobs, better than any person. So this is a question for everybody, but if you're disabled or schizophrenic or you have major depressive disorder or something else that's stopping you from working, like it can be pretty depressing, especially as a man where your value is often not, your value isn't like working as a man, but a lot of men feel that way, right? So it's like, are you working, right? Is that sort of like emasculates you or diminishes you as a man if you're not working. For a lot of men, it's like a big part of their identity, right? Like a woman, she can have kids. Is she pretty? Can she have kids, right? And then that's a lot of her value. And just because she can't work doesn't mean that like some guy isn't going to marry her, take care of her, right? Like, so but as a man, like a big part of what you are really is working. So all right, the provider is what men are generally viewed as. So yeah, it's a lot harder as a man, um, right? Because you can't offset that unless your family has money, maybe, or you already had money somehow before you got schizophrenia or whatever you have. right? Yeah. So you're not your job, you're not what you make, and you don't have to create value, but what value you can create, you should create, right? Like you shouldn't give up and go into despair and hopelessness and just like, well, I can't do what I wanted to. I can't be at 100 units like everybody else is, so I'm just not going to do anything. Like that's probably going to leave you in despair and worsen your symptoms and make your life miserable. Like you should just do what you can, even if it's like volunteering and stuff like that. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to do as much as I can that's not official work, and I'm also trying this YouTube, and I'm trying some other projects, and I'm trying the gym. I'm trying to increase my capacity to do stuff all the time. And I've been slowly increasing it. I've been doing better. And I'm trying supplements. I'm doing research. I'm trying drugs. I'm trying therapies. I haven't given up. Right, my spirit hasn't been crushed. But I do have to think about this a lot about creating value and working, because I don't feel it's part of my identity. Like I'm not one of those guys that feels like you have to work. But probably like 80% of men feel like their work is their identity, right? Like they're kind of like a worker drone, and that is who they are. But for me, I don't feel that way, but I still don't like not working. Like I feel like I should be working, and I don't want to be on SSI. It's so little money, right? Like if SSI were like triple the amount, it might be okay. But it's just so little money. It's like your quality of life is so low. It's actually sad that Social Security is so low, right? Like you can't really afford anything. It really limits you in life. Yeah, so that's another topic that I might get into sometime. Is yeah. Anyway, so yeah, just I think it's good for your soul to create value, right? Like I may be poor, but I can help other poor people. Like I was homeless for 2 years, but I was inside, and there's a homeless ministry at my church, and I try to make that, but I haven't made it for the past few months because I didn't know when it was, but I've done it before. And you go out and we find homeless people, which there's plenty of, and we bring them back to church for a free meal and a Bible lesson, and stuff like that. So right, like I'm poor, but I'm helping people who are poorer than me, and maybe it's once a month, but still, like I'm doing stuff, right? I'm trying to do other stuff as well, and right, like we should just do as much as we can. I know I've already said that. So, but I'm really trying to instill this in myself, so it's a little bit repetitive, that you don't have to work, right? You really don't. And you don't even have to create value. Like human beings have value, right, intrinsically, and you don't need to work or create value to have value, right? Like if someone's in an iron lung, we don't expect much from them, right? Like it's just people have problems, right? We don't expect a lot from like disabled people, or we shouldn't. And schizophrenia is one of those weird ones where you kind of can't see it necessarily, depending. Like for me, my illness is invisible. Like how can you tell besides like it just looks like laziness, right? And we don't want to be lazy. We have to be careful about that. But how can you tell someone who has like a major depressive disorder or schizophrenia or the negatives and like chronic fatigue, right? It's sort of like they're doing as much as they can, and they still have value as human beings, and they don't need to do more, right? Like they shouldn't give up. They should try different things to get better and never give up trying to get better, right? Like I heard somebody that took 17 medications and never got better, then they tried keto and they got better, right? Or people that have been schizophrenic for like 50 years and then they tried keto and then they got better. So you should never give up, and you should always be trying your best to do better, but not like to the point where you stress yourself out, or you feel obligated, or you feel like a burden, or you feel ashamed, or you feel guilty, right? So, or even for men, like you shouldn't feel like less of a man, right? Like as a man, you don't have to tie your identity to your work. A lot of men do, but you don't have to. Um, and it's really ingrained. I don't know if it's biology or my family or what, but I really feel like I really want to work. Like I really don't like not working. So whatever, Protestant work ethic, capitalism, stuff like that. Like I really feel like I want to work, but I also know that's not what life is about. So it's a big conflict for me. And I stress about it more than I should. And I should really be focusing on what I can do for God, right? And then that's going to be the fair judge of like, did you meet your capacity, right? Like, I'm not trusting the government, like Social Security, to tell me if I'm doing enough or not, or what my value is. Like, oh, you get $600 a month or something, like, right? Like that's like nothing. So yeah, I'm working on increasing my capacity as much as I can. I'm not in despair or hopelessness. I haven't given up. I'm constantly fighting and trying. I am improving, and my life is getting better. And I am trying to create value with these YouTube videos too, right? Like that's what this is creating value. And you may get financially compensated too, but maybe I won't break the subscriber limit or whatever you need to get monetized, but it's still going out there and helping people. Like maybe it'll only help a few people, but still that's worth it, right? Like what else am I doing with my time? Like would I rather make $1 or help somebody through a difficult illness, right? So yeah, I'm trying to create value even now, and I'm going to do a lot of research on YouTube and figure out how to do it better, because I'm probably at a low level of skill, like a newbie level of skill, right? And I want to increase that so that I can help people, I guess. And maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't really know. I'm trying to figure that out. So there's a lot that could be said for creating value. And it is a bit subjective too. So you can kind of have your own opinion on it. But I think you have to be honest. And as long as you're honest and you're trying your hardest, that's all that really matters. And yeah, you may find shifting it to like the heavenly realm is better, right? Like I moved a table for my church, and like how hard is that for me, right? Like a big table, I moved it like 4 floors and some distance, right? Just because somebody asked me to do it. It's like, okay, sure. Or I stayed up or stayed after Easter and cleaned up, right? Like I don't have to do that. I could say I have fatigue, I don't want to do it, but I signed up to do as much as I can. So if you're at capacity, you're doing what God wants, right? And if you're trying to get better and increase the amount of stuff you can do, the amount of value you create, like you're doing what God wants, right? So, yeah. I have a lot of thoughts about this. Like, you're not your work, that's not your value. And you shouldn't think like that. I think it's a really bad way of thinking. Because you can lose your health, you can lose your job, and then what about your identity? Like, right? It's sort of like stoicism. Like, what happens when you can't work? What happens if you get sick or injured or lose your job or whatever, right? You can't exactly control that, or you can't control that. So, and you also can't control when you can create value or how much value you can create, right? Like some women get that postpartum depression, so it's like you never know when your ability to create value will be taken from you, and you don't know when you'll get it back. So it's kind of dangerous to make it part of your identity, and it is beyond your control. Like you can do your due diligence, but it is beyond your control. Anyway, I feel like I could go on for a long time about this. I'm just gonna end the conversation there. It's pretty long. So like, subscribe, comment if you listen to the whole thing. That'd be great. All right. God bless.